Once again, this meeting is being conducted both in person and remotely. Provisions have been made to allow elected officials, village staff, and members of the public to participate remotely if necessary. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. I will now ask all those present to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Given the audio delay issues, we will ask everyone participating remotely to keep their microphone on mute during the day. All rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you very much, folks. Okay, item 3, roll call. Clerk, would you call the roll, please? And for those trustees remoting in, please acknowledge that you can hear me.
Gustafson?
Here, and I can hear you.
King?
Thank you.
I'm here and I can hear you.
Malcolm?
Here.
Petty? Here. Block?
Here.
Dunn?
Here.
Thank you very much. Item 4, public comment. Before we get started with public comment this evening, can I ask our village administrator to please briefly address the process that has been followed with respect to the new residential waste hauling franchise agreement? I understand that we've had residents joining us this evening, and I think it would help out if Scott provides some background information prior to inviting public comment. Scott, please take it over.
Sure, and I think maybe the last 36 hours have been effective in getting some of this information out. It certainly wasn't out previous to that.
Sure.
But I just want to take a moment to make sure everyone understands what brought us to where we are with this agreement, with this contract. And I will try to be brief, but just so you know, the last time we negotiated anything was at the tail end of 2017 for a contract that went into effect in 2018. That was then with Advanced Disposal. Waste Management since bought them out. Advanced Disposal became our vendor through a public bid process. I think that even predates, I think that was 2015 or 16-ish, but we had done a public solicitation for bids. They were the low-cost bidder. And then the first opportunity we needed to renegotiate a contract with them was, again, 2017, going into effect in 2018. I will tell you that I think we knew it at the time. I don't know if we fully appreciated how strong of a contract that ended up being. That was a $15 a month flat rate for the 5-year term of the contract. In hindsight, I think we could have even peeled a couple more years out of that, but we didn't, and that's where we are now. So leading up, I can tell you then that Advanced and then Waste Management did come to us a couple times through the 5-year term, and kind of tried to plead for some increases based on economic factors. There was a period where there was a fuel surge in fuel costs, and they asked if we could potentially consider adjusting the rates to accommodate that. Most significantly, a fairly seismic shift in the recycling industry. And a lot of that is a result of China deciding to no longer take our recyclable waste. I think that happened around 2020-ish, 2019 maybe. And that greatly impacted anyone who was in the business of having to collect that material and now do something with it. They can no longer sell it. They no longer have their typical markets available. When it's collected as recyclable material, they can't just put it in the landfill. There's obligations then for the custody of that material once collected as recyclable. But we held firm, and we never adjusted it during that time. We knew that there was going to be a jump going into this year. And one thing I've learned from all the conversations I've had in the last 36 hours, and there's been a lot of them, is that I wish I would have done more throughout the year without even knowing what the numbers would be. But to make everyone aware, I don't know if this helps or not, but that an increase was coming. But we didn't know what that would be, but we knew that the days of $15 a month were gone. So mid-year, we started negotiations. Waste Management has taken over for Advanced Disposal. They've been a great partner through this process. They've been cordial and respectful. We started negotiations. They were higher. The numbers we started with were higher than what we're talking about now, and they were shocking. We negotiated, we had some back and forth for probably a couple months and brought that number down some, but ultimately, I think it was in September, when sort of, informing the board as to what had been going on with those negotiations, it became clear to everyone that we'd have to go back out for a competitive bid again, that we weren't gonna be able to just accept that level of increase as a straight contract extension. So we did, we prepared another bid package, our bid specifications, the board authorized putting it out to bid in early October. It was out from October 10th through the first week of November. Our market, as I've stated in a couple of platforms now, our market is really dominated by two vendors at this point. It is Waste Management, and it is a parent company called Waste Connections, but they're known locally as Rock River Disposal. I personally sought out and called companies, and often to find that they were already a subsidiary of one of the two. And we only got two bids. I know Mike had his article, he made a mention of Lentel Disposal, and curiously called them a local favorite, but I don't want that to give the impression that we missed out on someone or we ignored someone. They don't bid on this type of work.
Right.
They just don't. They're not players in this sector. They were not an option. So we got numbers from the two. I don't mind saying, I know we have some representatives from Waste Management here. I actually thought that, I sort of predicted that Rock River Disposal might come in lower. I think they have been going pretty aggressively after some of these municipalities and other bids, but they did not. And we asked for bidding in a couple different scopes of work. We asked for it to be the exact same scope of service that we have now, which is every week garbage collection, every week recycling, and we say unlimited bulk, but what unlimited bulk translates to is one a week, every week. So unlimited means 52 bulk items a year. You can put one out for free every week. We knew from the early negotiations that price was gonna double and then some, the current $15. The every other week recycling was a step down from that to see what kind of savings we could afford. And then we even looked at adding yard waste on as a rider, so that yard waste would not be in the monthly billing, but you would have to select that as an option as a rider. Those numbers, once the public bid opening was held on November 7th, and then I think November 15th was the meeting where all the results were presented to the board and discussed. The straw poll vote that was taken at that meeting was to move forward with Waste Management with what we call option number 2, which is weekly collection of trash and bulk items, every other week recycling, and then the same seasonal yard waste we've always had. That price was $25.50. Their competitor was at $26.90. Those are the two bids in that space. It was about another $4, just 10 cents shy of $4 to maintain every week recycling. And so the decision was made that there was already a significant $10 jump, and that it was worth saving $4 a month to go to every other week recycling. That was the direction given to staff, which is essentially Joe and I. So since the November 15th meeting, we've been working on the contract preparation itself. That sounds like a no-brainer, but it never is. Every vendor you work with has little terms and conditions they want that we might not want. We're asking for things that they might want to do. So you work through that process to make sure that the contract is agreeable and is consistent with the specifications that we put out in that bid process, so that we were honoring an accurate apples-to-apples bid between the two vendors. That actually brings us to tonight. So, because Waste Management is a corporate entity, does all of they bill quarterly, and that bill goes out in advance. I regret that the way a lot of people found out about this was through a bill. The bill got there sooner than I thought it was going to. I sort of wanted to get through this meeting tonight, but absolutely in hindsight, like I said, I think we would have done the community a service to even make them aware that an increase was coming, and perhaps should have identified the dollar value at November 15th when those were presented publicly. Nevertheless, I don't think it was ever going to be well-received news at any time that it was that it was disseminated. And if we could get a cheaper price, we would pass that on. The village has done everything they can to conduct a fair, competitive, public bidding process, as we are obligated to do through our procurement policies. This is the cheapest, the lowest number we got. And it is the contract that will be voted on tonight. So Mark, that's, I think that's the background information I'll prepare, and what I'd ask is if there's public comment, we'll just keep track of any questions, and to the best of my ability, I'll answer them at the end of the session.
Absolutely. Thank you for that explanation, Scott. So, that said, are there any members of the public that wish to be heard under public comment tonight? Also, if there are any members logged in to the meeting this evening wishing to speak, please unmute your phone or microphone, state your name and address, and always limit comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone currently in the room that would wish to speak? If so, please walk up to the podium, sign in, state your name and address. Thank you.
My name is Mike Simon. I think this mic is on. Like that. I'm bringing my glasses here so I can see. My name is Mike Simon. I live at 7482 Deer Crossing. I first want to state by thanking Administrator Sanders for that transparency. I do believe that we could have used that in November 15th. It would have eliminated a lot of things, the billing, what's going on. I also wanted to acknowledge the folks from Waste Management. We're happy with your services. This is nothing against Waste Management or choosing one side or another. We're looking more so at the process and sort of how can we improve the process of communication within our constituency and our board. So I'd like to just take a few minutes to say I want to provide comment on this resolution R73. Put my glasses on. First off, I'd like to point out that I'm not speaking on behalf of myself, but many of my friends and neighbors that reside in the village of Roscoe who couldn't be here tonight. I think some of them are on the hangman, so hello to all of you. These people are your constituents. We are aware that the current waste management contract will expire in 11 days. We also understand that due to inflation, that there is a necessary increase in the rates provided for these services. Ultimately, it will be the residents of Roscoe, your constituency, which will be responsible for the payment of the waste hauling. The village does not pay for this, so we, your residents, are relying on you, our elected officials, to negotiate on our behalf in a transparent manner. We should have some say in the decision about what the proposed services are to be and when they're selected. Yes, we are frustrated by the rate increases, but we are equally disappointed in how the selection process has proceeded. On November 15th, during the regular village meeting, Administrator Sanders provided the board with an overview comparison between the waste management bid and the Rock River disposal garbage recycling waste bids. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in line? Okay.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Okay, so we, the residents of Roscoe, were not provided with this overview. The information, there was no information provided to us, your residents. The options and costs were never posted on the village website. The only place the choices were available to residents to see was on the November 15th board meeting minutes. which were not publicly available until yesterday, December 19th, just a day before today's vote. We feel we deserve access to the rates negotiated on behalf of us, so we, your constituents, can provide feedback to our elected officials and our trustees. The trustees, in turn, should have the same opportunity to reach out to the residents and get their thoughts before they vote on the proposal. During this meeting, Mr. Sanders asked President Zula for a straw poll, by which I feel is, by definition, I do a lot of contract law, is an official vote or survey. The straw poll is not a vote. Straw poll should not give the village administrator authority to proceed with to enter an agreement without waste management. I look forward to the comment for our lawyer to maybe address this with the confusion upon what a straw poll is, and just really give us an opportunity to move forward. That did not happen. Yesterday, December 19th, the Village of Roscoe issued a press release that stated on November 15th, the board voted to authorize the franchise agreement with Waste Management under the terms discussed from the straw poll. Again, this is not a vote, but a straw poll. The press release should have stated the board took a straw poll and did not authorize the bid through an actual vote. This is very misleading. The residents of Roscoe should not have important decisions made by a straw poll. Thus, the village should not have authorized to enter an agreement with Waste Management, as the press release states. If the board authorized Waste Management agreement on November 15th, I don't understand why there's a vote today. It's a done deal. We, your constituents, ask the village board of trustees to listen to us. We ask you to postpone today's vote until the next meeting. In the meantime, the village can properly post the waste hauling bids and options so all the residents can be informed and the trustees can show what their preferences are. If you go ahead with the vote and you vote yes, you're in essence saying that you're okay with the straw poll process instead of bad precedent for future village votes. Trustees, please delay the vote and give your constituents a chance to properly voice their opinions. Show us that you'll listen to us. Thank you, Mike Sutton.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Have a nice evening. Anyone else currently in the room that would like to do public comment? If so, please walk up to the podium, state your name, address, please sign in on that piece of paper there on the podium, then state your name and address, and please comment. In your comments, please try not to duplicate what the prior gentleman discussed.
Name's William Babcock. Rockton-Roscoe. I just want to add this. How is it that the vote has not been taken? I get all this, you have to negotiate. But how is it the vote's not even taken, and this week, people are receiving the bill in the mail from Waste Management going from $45 to $76? That is not reasonable. And that's the whole point that we've made at every single meeting, that this committee does not listen to the constituents, and the very reason why we're running to replace this group. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else in the actual room there that would wish to do public comment? If so, please walk up to the podium, state your name and address, and please sign in on the document there on the podium. State your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And please try not to duplicate what's already been said.
My name is Christine Dirks. We've been here for almost 2 years. Moved from Pueblo, Colorado. We are retirees. We are on a fixed income. I've been happy with Waste Management. They do a great job for us. The only thing that I am concerned about is that you guys go ahead and vote on something that we have no control over. We have maybe 3 bags of garbage a week. We recycle a little bit. You know, we don't have yard waste. Why should we have to pay for that service when we don't use it? We don't need it. We can downsize our garbage. We got an 8.7% increase on our Social Security. Where's it going? Every place but where people need it at this time in our lives. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate your comment. Is there anyone else currently in the room that would wish to comment? Please come up to the podium. Sign in, please. State your name, address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Joe, do we have anyone remote right now with their hand up? Oh, I apologize for seeing someone walk up. Okay.
I knew we don't,
Okay. Okay, thank you, Joe.
Chris Marks,
Hey, Chris, how are you today?
I'm fine, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Have you checked, well, has anybody checked to see if Lentels has put in a bid? I mean, if they have anything?
That's what I said in my opening, they don't bid on municipal services, they do very little residential. They don't bid on things like this, they don't do any municipal contracts.
You couldn't convince Waste Management to at least do something for us older people who maybe the other people at least give them a discount. And I don't see any discount for Waste Management at all.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I 8% with you guys, with electric guys.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the room there wishing to make a public comment? Please walk up to the podium, sign in, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
My name is Carl Dirks. My wife is Chris. I guess I just have a real
Sir,
hard
could
time.
you state your address? Could you state your address for the record, please?
Okay, it's 5534 Terramac Court,
Thank you.
Roscoe. I guess I have a hard time understanding. That's a 70% increase. If you take that 70% divided by the 5 years of the contract, that's 14% a year. What justifies that?
Greed,
What justifies that?
greed.
I guess I just don't understand a 14% increase average a year. When I was running a business, if I got 14%, my company would have been terrific. We were lucky to be making 5 and 6% increases. 5 and 6%. And you guys are asking for 14% over 5 years. That's ridiculous. That's my comment.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room currently for public comment? If so, please come up to the podium. Please sign in. State your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please try not to duplicate anything else that's been said.
yes, my name is Keith Liston. I live in Promontory Ridge, 7349 Timber Ridge Road, and I'm on the board of the HOA in Timber Ridge. And Mike said most of everything that I was gonna say. He was telling us about the fact that we're kind of put back, that we weren't able to have any input at all into this decision. I guess I went through the minutes of the last meeting, and Scott said that, you know, we've picked the best choice of the bunch, and I guess that all depends on your perspective, you know? Not everybody has waste. We do. In Promontory, we have a lot of leaves out there, so we appreciate that part of it. But also, you know, I looked at the Rock River disposal. I looked at their submissions, and I saw one there in there for a 10-year commitment. I know 10 years a lot, but it was of a lesser amount, and it did have an allocation for seniors. Still a very high increase, but it was less than the one that we've chosen. That's the only comment I have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room currently that would like to do public comment? If so, please walk up to the podium, sign in, state your name and address. And as always, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And please try not to duplicate anything else that's been said. Okay, do we have anyone walking up currently right now?
You're not.
Joe, do we have anyone with a hand up out there virtually?
No, there's not.
Okay, public comments going once, public comments going twice. Public comment is now gone. I will get through my president's report, and then I will ask our city attorney to address a few of these things that has been raised this evening. Okay, so everyone just be patient here. We have a few things to go over. Okay, so what I'd like to do at this time is, for those of you who are not aware of it, I want to take a minute under my president's report this evening to acknowledge someone who has been a true asset to the Roscoe community for a very long time. After serving as a firefighter in Cary, Illinois for almost 15 years, Don Shovlin relocated to Roscoe, Illinois, and started all over again as a newbie in 2001 with the Rockton-Roscoe Fire Protection District. Little did he know the impact that he would end up having. Don was promoted to lieutenant by 2004, captain of Station 3 shortly after that, and on January 1st of 2008, Don became the 8th chief of the Roscoe Fire Protection District. As Chief Don Sutherland oversaw a period of unprecedented growth in the department, the fire department has grown from a department serving solely by volunteers to an organization that staffs 3 firehouses 24 hours a day, operating 26 pieces of apparatus, and responding to double the call volume that when Chief first took over the office. Chief Shovlin has always made training in a higher education a priority, and has led by example, obtaining a massive list of credentials. He has ensured that his firefighters always had to date facilities and equipment, and has worked to raise awareness and the importance of mental health for emergency responding. That is very, very important. For the last 35 years of his career in firefighting, 20 years in Roscoe, 15 years as a leader and a chief, we thank you, Chief Shovlin. You have been a model of professionalism, integrity, and our gratitude can never match the depth that you hold. And we wish you and Tammy all the best as you tackle that, whatever life and your family has stored for you in the future. Thank you very much, Chief. You did a heck of a job. We appreciate everything. Now, I know one of the questions that was raised about a straw poll. Joe, if you would be so kind as to address that, we'll start there.
Yeah, I can address it generally. I mean, straw polls just something that we do to get the idea of which direction the board's going for. But I mean, it is true, absolutely true, that the board needs to make informal votes, make final action. I think it was October 4th, I think it's the date we took the first action, which was authorizing the RFP. That's the first thing we did. It was on the agenda. The board voted on that, voted on the specifications. They were released. And it's true, there's not an approved contract as of right now. As of this moment, there's not an approved contract. Straw poll's not a binding vote. It's not a final action of the board. It's not anything. It's a method that we use to sort of get an idea of which direction the board wants to go on various topics. And so no, I mean, a straw poll's not a binding final action of the board. So I don't know if that helps answer the question, but until the vote's done tonight, there's not a action of the board or final action of the board. So.
If I could just chime in, that what the straw poll does is give us direction. It identifies the choice of the choices presented. It identifies the choice of vendor, and the price point of the various options that were put forward. So that was the wishes expressed by the board via a straw poll that allowed us to pursue the process of developing the agreement, and the agreement will be voted on tonight. I don't know if this is more of a semantics issue or not, but it is accurate to say that on November 15th, the board chose a direction to enter into an agreement with Waste Management at $25.50 a month. The agreement is presented this evening. But the action on November 15th, otherwise we would have just, without that direction, we would have nothing to even bring forward tonight. You know, we wouldn't have known who to be negotiating with or what price point. So that was the direction given by the board on November 15th. If I could say one more thing, President Zula, I just want to, I don't begrudge anyone, not anyone, their distaste for the dollar amount. I wanted to see it lower. I was disappointed at where it landed. But I do want you to know one variable that's important to this. The village of Roscoe doesn't have any of its own utilities. Most communities attach the garbage bill, the waste collection bill, to another utility, a water or sanitary utility. That's their means, that's how they already have the accounts set up, that's their means of invoicing, and it's their means of enforcing payment. Someone doesn't pay their garbage, they're also not paying their water bill, and it all gets shut off. We don't have that ability. We don't have any of our own utilities, or we don't have any anything that we bill our residents for on any regular recurring basis. So our request of the vendors is a little unique from other municipalities in that we put all of that responsibility on the garbage company. They have to handle all the billing, they set up the accounts, they pursue collection, they're the ones that have to collect the money, and quite frankly, they're the ones who assume the bad debt or deal with non-payment issues. The village does not. They have to, of the $25.50, $22 of that is assigned essentially to the service provided for trash collection, $3.50 for the billing, accounting, and collection. I just want you to know where that ranks with other communities. Rockton's at $19.50, Chesney Park's at $21.55, Cherry Valley's at $18.99, Rockford's at $23, $29 if you want bulk pickup included. South Beloit has an enviable one. They're down at $17.91, but they entered into a 10-year contract in 2016, and they'll be in for a significant correction when that contract's up as well. The $22 is an unpleasant number, it is, but it's not inconsistent with what surrounding communities are paying. And I just want to briefly address, someone brought up the option of trash, of deciding to force people into lawn waste collection. You're right, that was lower. That was $20.35 plus a $150 annual rider for yard waste collection. That $150 translates to $12.50 a month. So those taking that option are paying $32.85 a month as opposed to the $25.50. Our best estimation is that about 70% of the residents of Roscoe use yard waste collection. A lot of them burn leaves in the fall, but grass clippings and other yard waste and sticks and everything are utilized. And if they don't want to speak, and they can speak for themselves on this when the time comes, but I think the decision at the time was to take an option that would provide the cheapest monthly rate for the greatest number of people. And if $25.50 is cheaper for 70% of the residents, as opposed to the $32.85 they'd be paying with option 3, that while that probably is perceived to be unfair by those that don't utilize yard waste, the board has to make decisions that they feel impacts the greatest number of the residents in a positive way.
Thanks, Scott.
That's all.
Appreciate that. Okay. All right, so that ends my president's report. Item 6, treasurer's report. Steve, are you present?
Sure. Bills submitted for approval tonight are expenditures per list of $131,527. We have payroll expenses of $91,936, leaving cash on hand in the general fund of $8,851,402. We have motor fuel expenses tonight of $10,576, leaving cash on hand in the motor fuel fund of $1,210,705.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to pay the bills? So moved. First by Anthony King, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Justin Plock, any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Teddy? Yes. Dunn?
Yes.
Malaco?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Flock?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. Item 7, 7.1, approval of minutes from December 6, 2022 village board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
First by Justin Block, second by Stacy Malco. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Teddy?
Yes.
Gustafson?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Malaco?
Yes.
Flock?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 8, motion of resolutions, final action. 8.1, approval, resolution 2022-R73, authorizing entering into a franchise agreement with Waste Management of Illinois Incorporated to provide residential waste hauling services within the village of Roscoe. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. First by Anthony King, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Justin Plock. Any discussion?
I have a couple of questions or clarifications.
Yeah, please do.
Having gone through that contract, the one bulk item per week is limited to a 50-pound item, correct? Maximum weight of a bulk item?
I think, I gotta pull the contract, but I believe that is, sorry, I haven't been pulled it in front of me. I believe that's actually for on the curb directly. I believe if you want more than that weight, you have to call Waste Management directly. I think that's what they can do on the street. I believe that is what that is.
Is there anything you might want to clarify? Do you know?
Yeah, the bulk item that, at 50 pounds is basically what our driver is gonna be picking up with his truck. Anything larger than that, or heavier than that, I should say, we ask that, the resident call in so we can make arrangements, Leroy can make arrangements to have, manpower and trucks available to pick that up.
It's a boom truck. It's a boom truck that we use to collect those things on the heavier items. We're able to collect them and pick them up with a boom truck, which has a arm that lifts them up.
Do you charge extra for that?
No,
There's second question, white goods or appliances, that is an extra cost of $50 billable in advance of pickup, correct?
I believe yes. Appliances currently, our current contract are also not allowed as well. I think you're finding most places, I think it has to do with the potential of freoning other gases in those appliances. So I think that's why appliances are essentially separate on ours and our current contract as well as this.
I think
proposed
disallowed
contract.
our current, I thought.
Appliances are.
So they will now be billed $50 and payable in advance.
Correct.
Okay, and third, we go to biweekly recycling with a bigger recycling tote. When will those be distributed?
Those will be distributed throughout the month of January, starting mid-January. Waste Management has put together a postcard mailer that will go out that outlines the transition process. It also provides a calendar that sort of boldly, with the color coding, shows the weeks that are recycling weeks versus non-recycling weeks. They'll be dropping them off, the new toters, middle of January, then over the subsequent couple weeks, retrieving the old ones. And I think the every other week recycling itself is supposed to begin early, mid-February.
Also, keep in mind too, Scott, that if you do not want that larger tote, if you want to keep the small one because you don't have a lot of recyclables, you can do so because of the weight.
But we're still getting charged. We're still getting charged the same, even if we use the smaller one. Well, that's.
All I'm stating the fact is that if you didn't want the large one, you didn't have to take the large one, but yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay.
And I had asked for a list of other fees that might be applied here. Late fees, or I know in the contract there is the fee identified for an extra tote, but if someone has problems,
They're all an attachment to that contract, Trustee Gustafson, let me pull it up, but it's in that.
well, it was not downloaded, so I have not seen it. So all of the other, let's call them nuisance fees.
Yeah, I can go over them really quickly. Non-sufficient funds fee, so if you don't have money in your bank account, it's $30. The late fees are $5. The auto resume fee due to a stop service during non-payment, so you don't pay your bill, and so they pause your service. To reactivate is $55, and then the reinstatement fee, which is if your service is canceled because you don't pay your bill, that's a $65 fee.
You save $200 a year.
Any other questions?
No,
Okay, thank you. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Malaco,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Eddie, no. Gustafson,
no,
Keen,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-2. Item 8.2, approval of resolution 2022-R74, approving amendments of the Village of Roscoe's fund balance and reserve policy. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Was that first by Stacy Malaco, second by Anthony King?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Keen,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Gustafson,
no,
Okay,
Malaco.
motion carries. Sorry, my apologies. Little delay there. Motion carries 5-1. Item 8.3, approval of ordinance 2022-14, amending compensation received by the Board of Fire and Police Commission of the Village of Roscoe. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
First by Justin Block, second by Stacy Malco. Any discussion?
just for the minutes and clarification, the chairman now will be compensated $80 in the meeting and the board members $60, and then when they are proctoring testing, $40 an hour.
And they've always been, so one thing's changed, they've always been paid $60, not always, but the last year or so, have been paid $60 per meeting for the commissioners and $80 per meeting for chairman, so that's not changing, that's remaining the same. And then based on the discussion last time, it's $40 per hour for the, as requested by the Police and Fire Commission, the $40 and the $60 per hour for proctoring.
So I'm just asking that the minutes reflect what that compensation will be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Clerk call the roll, please.
Flock,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Henny. Yes. Dunn,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. Item 9, new business. I actually have something that I would like to bring up under new business this evening. I know that the village has always prioritized transparency, and that we have stepped up that commitment in recent years by contracting with ClearGov to establish a transparency page on our village website, and also by continuing to allow our residents to join in and follow our meeting through Zoom rather than making everyone come into the village hall at dinner time on a Tuesday evening. So, let me please first thanks all those folks that came in this evening. I very much appreciate everything that you said. I would like to propose that we take this one step further and make our recorded meetings available to our residents online, just like we do with agendas and minutes. If there are no objections, I would like to treat this as a first reading tonight and ask that we place this matter on January 17th Village Board agenda for a final vote. So with me saying that, I'd like to open up the floor for a motion for this.
So moved.
First by Justin Block, can I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Anthony King. Clerk, would you call the roll, please? Oh, I apologize, any discussion?
Yes. I support this, but I would also like to assure that all of these things get out in a timely manner. We heard tonight that minutes were not available until yesterday, so minutes and recordings have to be posted, 7 days after approval? So let's stick to making sure that we get them out in a timely fashion. They are of no use to anybody if they're not on the website.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, thank you. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Petty,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Malco,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. We'll finalize it on the 17th of January. Item 10, action from Liquor Commission. 10.1, approval to renew a Class F full liquor on-premise consumption liquor license issued to Jimmy Shell LLC, doing business as Jimmy's Sports Bar and Grill, license premise 11677 Main Street, Roscoe, Illinois 61073. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Was that first by Stacy Malco, or was that Andrew?
Malco.
Oh, first by Stacy Malco, second by Justin Block, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Dunn,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Malco,
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. 10.2, approval of ordinance 2022-15, an ordinance amending subsection 114 of the Village of Roscoe Code ordinance concerning the regulation of licensed liquor establishments within the Village of Roscoe, establishing and reaffirming the maximum number of liquor licenses available in issuance in each liquor classification. This is an ordinance that we pass at the end of each year that establishes the total number of licenses issued in each category, effectively settling that number as the maximum number allowed. This ordinance will set that total number at 35. In the event that we receive any applications for new licenses during 2023, the board will first need to determine if the village should increase that maximum number by 1, essentially making it possible to issue the new license. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
First by Sue Petty, second by Justin Block. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Malco,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 11, old business. Does anyone have anything under old business?
Yes.
I do actually have something under old business as well. Go ahead, Carl.
Couple of questions. I noted with the bills tonight that the village contribution for hometown holiday, give or take around $4,100. Elevate 15, what did they contribute? What did the other sponsors do? Did we have any contributions? How did the total shake out here for this event?
To be honest, I think I'm still tabulating the total. Elevate, I can answer specifically that Elevate 1.5 contributed. They are the ones who solicited the donations, and they are giving those directly to the village to apply against our expenses. So that's $1,250. Printing expenses were up this year, and in fact, I want to track to make sure that all the expenses there are being appropriately applied. For example, I bought a number of those plastic A-frame signs. I assume those got attributed to Hometown Holiday, but they are things we will use for numerous events throughout the year, every year. And this year, some of the signs that we had printed were a one-time expense that we can reuse. A comment made at the end of Hometown Holiday last year was that it would be desirable to have something that actually they could set up outside the participating businesses to make sure everyone knew something was going on there. So we made participating business signs. They're the 24 by 36 inch plastic core signs. They don't have a date on them, so they can be reused every year. And this year, for the yard signs that we put out, again, rather than making them year and date specific, we just put this Saturday. So we'll put those out the weekend before, every year moving forward, and they can just say this Saturday. So, two answers to that. One, there were some additional expenses this year because they were for items that we can reuse for years to come. And then Elevate 1.5 contributed $1,250 to those expenses.
Thank you. Second question, when is code enforcement vehicle going to be arriving so that our code enforcement officer has a vehicle to use?
It's in, we apparently have to go pick it up, so Vic and I will discuss arrangements to pick it up tomorrow or Thursday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The only thing I'd like to mention under old business is naturally, I seen the weather. We're about to come into some pretty nasty stuff there around that area. You know, as always, our public works people, you know, Troy, stay on top of everything. Let's make sure that they need and have everything that they need. Let's not be overworking people. We have plenty of people in reserve. Naturally, let's be utilizing that list. And let's be very efficient at what we're doing. And like we always have in the future, and please stay safe during all those applications, okay?
Mark,
Yes.
this is Tony. Is Brandon available to do an update, or do we need to?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I did not make a note on that. Brandon, are you current to bring us up on the engineering?
Yes, I am. You guys hear me?
Okay. Thank you, Brandon. Go ahead, take over.
No problem. I'll keep it short. Not much is really going on as of right now. As you guys know, construction is kind of winding down for the season. So I'll first start with our construction projects. Pretty much all of those are finished except for the Public Works Building Addition project. We still got what we're thinking with talking with our architects. We're thinking about 3 to 4 more weeks until that project can likely get closed out. But most of the work is done. Same with the Public Works parking lot project. The majority of that project is done, but we will not be able to close that project out this season because we have to wait for the restoration to take place, basically the grass to grow until we can close that project out. So other than that, the projects are pretty much closed out. I'm just working on final paperwork and agreeing to quantities with the contractors. As far as 3 big design projects, no major updates there aside from the Main Street reconstruction project. Just a little while back, you guys had approved a bridge design contract addition to Fairgram, and we will be sometime within the next few days. We're hoping to submit the PBD and HR, that's preliminary bridge design and hydraulic report, to IDNR for their approval. So we've almost all but finished that hydraulic design, and we will be submitting that hopefully again within the next few days. Other than that, just still working on the Love and Willowbrook intersection design studies. We keep getting comments from IDOT on those, but we are actively working and we will be resubmitting that. Our goal is actually before the holidays. So hopefully if IDOT doesn't come back with anything, we can get that approval. But those are the updates. As always, if I didn't touch anything that you have specific questions about, feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Brandon, appreciate that. Thanks. Anything else on our old business? No, okay. Item 12, public comment. Is there anyone currently in the room that would wish to do public comment? If so, please walk up to the microphone, state your name and address, and always please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Yes, this will be quick. Mike Sima, 7482 Deer Crossing. As we heard here today, there's people here that were disappointed. They're old people, elderly people that aren't fixed incomes. They weren't aware of what the options were until today. Nobody knew about it. And, you know, it would be nice if you got their opinion beforehand. They're going away disappointed. At least they would have said, okay, we understand what the options are. Nobody knew that. They're asking questions right now. What about this? What about that? And that could have been done well in advance. That could have been done on the 15th. You can say, oh, people could have called in. We did not have access, public access, to see actual bids. You're getting the bids for us. We're paying the bill. So you're sort of acting parental in that we are not seeing what we get to vote on. So in the future, I hope that that is posted on a village website or posted on the meeting agenda, specifically what the bids are, so people can make an informed decision. They can call their trustees and say, hey, this is what I think we should do, rather than, hey, let's take a straw poll. I think number 4 looks good, number 2, but I'm online looking at it. I don't know what number 4 is. I don't know what number 2 is. Sounds like McDonald's ordered at me. So I don't know what those are. And I would like to know. So I think in the future, maybe we could do that ahead of time. And I think there wouldn't be as many issues and hard feelings as people left the place today. So thank you.
Good. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Anyone else currently in the room that would like to walk up to the podium and have public comment? If so, please re-sign in, restate your name for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody walking up to the podium?
It's not gonna be ourselves. No.
Okay. Joe, is there anyone out there with a hand up?
There's not.
Just to remind everyone that possibly might be online, if you hit *6, that will raise your hand where Joe can let you into the meeting. Now, Joe, do we have anyone with a hand up?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then public comment is going once. Public comment is going twice. Public comment is now gone. Item 13. Don't have a use for our executive session this evening. So that's next. Before adjournment, I would just like to wish everyone a very safe and happy holidays. Everyone, all of our staff, all of our political officials, all of our trustees, all of our staff members, all of our directors of our different departments. Please, we had our little luncheon here back on December 2nd. It was very nice, well obtained. Really appreciate everyone and all the things that everyone does in this village. And by all means, everyone that's in the room, please, I hope each and every one of you have a very Merry Christmas, a very safe holiday season. And I look forward to seeing you in person here very soon. With that, motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
First by Super, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Justin Plow. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Petty,
Yes.
Malco,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.